האמת הזאת, אני אומר לידידינו האמריקנים,
I tell this truth to our American friends, and I also stop the attempt to impose a reality on us that would harm Israel's security. The Prime Minister needs to be capable of saying no to our friends, saying no when necessary, and saying yes when possible.
James Dorsey, he's a senior fellow at the National University of Singapore's Middle East Institute. James, great to see you. Great to have you here with us on TRT World. So, nothing new here by Prime Minister Netanyahu. I mean, he has been saying that he does not support the establishment of a Palestinian state.
Absolutely. I think what's important here is the timing of this of Netanyahu's statement, and it serves multiple purposes. It comes at a moment at which the United States has been emphasizing or looking at the day after when the guns fall silent in Gaza, and has been looking at embedding the Palestinian issue in Israeli-Arab relations, particularly Israeli-Saudi relations, and that those relations are contingent on a process that would lead to a credible process that would lead to an independent Palestinian state. That puts, of course, Netanyahu, even though he personally is opposed to such a state, but it puts him at odds with his own far-right ultra-nationalist cabinet members. So that's one reason why he's speaking out. But the other reason is that I think that he feels emboldened in the sense that U.S. President Joe Biden is not doing well in the polls. He has, or Israel has, solid Republican support. And of course, Israel has something that many other countries do not have in the United States. It has a massive grassroots support, certainly among the evangelists in the United States. And Netanyahu, going back to the presidency of Barack Obama, successfully wielded that against Obama, if you recall, when, for example, he was invited by the Republican Congress to the United States and to address the Congress without even informing Obama.
Now, of course, James, publicly, the U.S. has expressed its willingness for the establishment of a Palestinian state once the war ends. But the fact that Netanyahu can talk about not giving Palestinians their rights, don't you think it goes to show that when it comes to backdoor diplomacy, closed-door meetings, the U.S. might be telling Israel something else?
No, I don't think that it shows that. I think the United States is sincere about the issue of an independent Palestinian state. However, there are multiple issues here. First of all, there is the assumption that needs to be proven whether today U.S. leverage over Israel is what it was in the past. And that may not be the case. To give you an example, in 1981, U.S. financial support of Israel amounted to 10% of Israeli GDP. Today, it amounts to 1%. And Israel has a much stronger independent or domestic weapons industry. So in all of those ways, of course, Israel is less dependent on the United States today. Moreover, the problem also is that when we talk about an independent Palestinian state, what many Israelis mean by that and what many others mean by that may be two different things. So most proponents, certainly non-Israeli proponents of a independent Palestinian state, are talking about a truly independent state. Israel, for example, is talking, or many Israelis, not all, many Israelis are talking about a demilitarized state in which still security concerns would be managed by Israel rather than primarily by Palestine.
James, over the past 3 months, I've spoken to many experts on this topic, and all of them have told me that there is one person who has the power to stop Israel's war on Gaza, and that person is President Joe Biden. Let me be hypothetical here for a moment. Let's say Biden tells Netanyahu tomorrow, end the war in Gaza. In your view, do you think Netanyahu is going to do that?
I think the jury is out. If one goes, I mean, there is historical precedent to believe that indeed it really just takes a phone call from Joe Biden to Benjamin Netanyahu. And the most recent incident of that was in 2021, when during the Gaza war, where Biden for the first 10 days used the bear hug, and on the 10th day phoned Netanyahu and said, this has to end, and the ceasefire was concluded a day later. That may still be possible, but I think that circumstances are different this time round. In part also because, not only because of the composition of the Netanyahu government, but also because of the traumatic effect that October 7 has had on Israel itself. So I think the jury is out on that.
James Dorsey, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for talking to us here on TRT World.
Thank you for having me.